Welcome to Slow Car Fix. This is my 55 Chevy. I've been working on it a lot lately, putting in a lot of hours, doing a lot of rust repair, a lot of grinding, cutting, welding. I feel like I've hit a turning point with the project. I feel like I've got some good forward momentum now. I'm looking forward to taking you on this journey with me while I build my dream 55 Chevy. This is part one of the wheel well rust repair. A friend of mine, Jeff, that watches the videos and stuff, he said, why don't I start on the passenger side, because I'm cutting out this damage here anyways, this Wolverine dash, and then I can look and see what the inner wheel wells are like and build accordingly. And I thought that was a good idea, but then I just noticed something. There is no inner wheel well on this side. It is gone. So there's nothing really to look at. I'm hoping that this wheel well situation, when I look at this tinfoil tape, squirrel, tinfoil tape. I'm hoping that when I take care of these wheel wells, the inner and the outer, that will resolve the remainder of the tinfoil. So this side does have an inner wheelhouse that I can look at and reference. This piece here is rubber. It's like a gasket. They call it an inner wheelhouse gasket, so that's interesting. So this is one of those project moments, right? Like where you actually have to think about what your vision is, what your end goal is, and you can't really just wing it. I do wing it a fair bit, but I have a sort of an idea in mind of where I want to end up. And the end thing is, this isn't a drag car. It's not going to be like a 2-lane blacktop style car like a lot of people do on 55s. This is going to be loosely a pro touring. Really what it falls in line with for me is a road trip car. You have to have in mind what you're working with, what you plan to do, and then figure out how you get there. Everybody has a favorite something. This is my favorite hammer. That is far better than expected. All down here is fine. It's just up here. That's far better than expected. That answers my question. I'm not cutting out these tubs. As always, that escalated quickly. This is rotten the whole way up there. I'm not sure how I'm going to access that. The inner wheel well fell out, what's left of it. So this is part of this. There is part of this on the other side, but yeah, that's what it looks like. And there's that gasket that I was talking about, which is just like stapled in place, which is interesting. I think this attaches to the quarter panel. So maybe I do need it for structure. I don't know. I got to think about that for a minute. I know I can buy the one piece. I looked at this. You can buy 3 pieces. You can buy 1 piece. You can buy whatever. Maybe I need to buy the one piece thing for both sides with the gasket and just replace them. That is not a problem for today. That is a future ed problem. Today's problem is, and today and the next day and the next day and the next day, is rust. So I did like Jeff's idea starting on this side. However, I think this side's not as bad as that side. It's weird, this side's bad back here at the back, and this side, there goes my light. All this is solid. And that's not. This is rotten, you know, that's all rotten. It's pretty solid back there, but obviously I don't need to check there. This is very rotten up in there. There's quite a big hole, which I can, as he mentioned, access a bunch of it from the outside when I cut this quarter off, but I don't like the idea of cutting this off and leaving it off for very long. I kind of want to cut it off, put the new one on at the same time. Which I may have to cut it off, do this wheel well crap, and then put it back on. The other thing is that side is not as bad for the vertical piece, but the wheel well is just, I think that's a relatively easy patch. This side, this whole thing here is shot, and all this. This is relatively easy to, I'll just cut out, you know, well, it's even rusted up to there. I can cut out and make a new piece for that later. That's not a big deal. I do have a couple repairs to do at the bottom of the wheel well, and then I have to clamp that into the floor when I go to weld the floor. Obviously the floor is just tacked in at the back, and it's actually only tacked in at the front as well, because I have to do a toe board on that side, and I still have to, you know, get the rocker all welded in, all that sort of stuff. So I think I'm moving from the back forward. I think that's what I'm doing. But I'm a big fan of starting on the worst spot and working my way to the better one, because it always hangs over your head. If you have the, what is worst? You know, the whole car is bad. It hangs over your head if you do the least damage first, that you've got this mountain of a thing to get at on this side. So I think what I'm going to do is this side, this driver's side first. Okay, you have me in my zebra hat today. My other two are getting washed. Yeah, this isn't really as bad as hang on. No, it's bad. It's not as bad to fix as I thought. With that outer wheelhouse out of the way and the wheel off. I think this is the first time I've had the wheels off this car. I can get at a bunch of shit. It's going to help me a lot. So, let's see. Come with me to the wheel well. So, here we are with our air-cooled wheel well. So I'm just picturing in my head a zip disc and a grinder. I have a plasma cutter. I don't like to use it on stuff like this because this is all ancient, old, crappy undercoat and shit, and it catches fire like crazy. And once it goes, it just goes whoosh. So I've had that happen before, and it makes you look for the fire extinguisher and a water bottle in a hurry. So what I think I can do with this outer wheelhouse out of the way, you can see I haven't finished welding the top of that panel yet. And I think I've answered my own question. I think I do need that outer wheelhouse. I think I'm gonna need that for sure. Because if not, all this shit's gonna get up in there. So I don't want that to happen. I think what I can do is I think I can get my grinder and just do a little zip all the way across. No, not down here. All the way across there from front to back. Take that piece out. This is going to be fiddly because it's going to be a bunch of pieces. I think I was looking at it the wrong way. I was thinking that I'm going to be patching this from the inside. And I think that may be the case for some of it, but I think the majority of it I'm going to do from the wheel well. Why am I crouched down? I can race this car. I need to race this car first, and then I'm not crouched down anymore. So I think if I cut this all like that, I can hammer in and shape a piece, either with the slip roll, or I have a ton of metalworking tools over there that I seldom use and somewhat know how to work. I could shape something. I'm thinking two pieces. I'm thinking there's going to be a vertical and a horizontal. And the vertical, I can just cut in. Which one first? I don't think it really matters. Definitely should do one and then the other and not cut the whole thing out and have a big giant hole to try and fix. But I think it's going to be a strip like this and a vertical strip like that and a 90-degree corner, grind it all smooth. I also have to, once I get in a better spot, I need to affix these floors all together, all that sort of stuff. I don't want to do that yet because I just still have to move that around a little bit. Yeah, and then I have all this stuff here and this crap here, and that's that sound deadening insulation stuff that I was talking about that catches fire and goes like crazy. And actually, ironically, the way to take it off is by fire. If you heat it, I showed it on my last video, if you heat it and scrape it, it comes off sort of easy. So these little relief dimples and stuff, that they add strength, those bead rolled pieces that protrude out. Like here, I'll be able to go just below it and not really get into it. This one, I'm well into it. They might get somewhat deleted because that's what's gonna have to happen. But I think I need to get zip wheel and get cutting things. Here I am cutting some of the loose material out of the way, just trying to get to a nice square shape so that way I can shape in a new piece. I use a grinder and a 4.5-inch zip wheel. I find it gives me a lot of control and I can make nice straight cuts, but it's very messy and there's a lot of grinding dust everywhere. I would much rather have a Beverly shear or a stomp shear, but it's just not on the cards right now. This is my slip roll. I just got it not long ago. I'm not that familiar with it, but it's adjustable for the different radius you get. It'd be really good for doing stuff like transmission tunnels. I think it's going to be a handy tool in the future. I'm shaping in the piece and I'm using self-tapping screws and my little impact drill to fasten things up in place. You can use clecos, which are like a little mechanical rivet that holds things in place, but it's a lot easier, I find, with stuff like this by yourself to just use self-tapping screws and a little drill. .24" by 6.5. Just like wrapping presents. So then I need to transfer this onto my metal, and I need this piece in metal. And then I will hold this up on the car. I'll mark it out on the car, and I'll do like what I did on the last time, where I start cutting it and tacking it in and install it at the same time. Now that I have that new vertical piece tacked in, I can cut around it with the grinder and push it in so it's flush, and then weld it as I go, and then it's installed. Now with the patch installed, I can sand away any of the loose surface area and any of the trunk paint to be able to get a good solid weld from the inside. I'm marking out where all the rough edges are so I can cut away any of the real heavy rust. Now I'm using my hammer and my sandbag on top of my shaping stump. I'm just trying to rough out a shape for the corner piece of that rotted part in the trunk. This is my planishing hammer. It's used to smooth out steel after you've shaped it on a stump or some other means. But I use it sometimes with a little bit of pressure just to mold the steel and shape it the way I want. Okay, so it's the next day. I made a lot of progress yesterday. I'm pretty happy with it. It's pretty encouraging. The passenger side, driver's side, it's pretty much done for wheel well stuff. I did decide that I'm going to go ahead and order the outer wheelhouse surrounds, the piece with the gasket. I'm going to go ahead and order that. I think I can install the lower quarters and then install those after and access through the wheel well, which is good because then I can, I'll be able to seal up that area, but that's another topic. But let's have a look at where I got and what's next. So this side's pretty much done. I made a piece here, got to use my planishing hammer. I haven't used it in a while. Made another piece there, had to get into the floor a little bit. Like I said, I'm going to cover that all seam seal after. I need to strip this whole trunk of this silvery crap trunk paint that was on it. It's all patched all the way into there, all the way down, and here's all patched. I got to do some old car yoga. The inside of the wheel well is all patched. I've got a little bit of cleanup to do there. I had to go out this morning and get some new flap wheels and a couple of things. I've got a little bit of welding to do on the front side of the wheel well inside the car, and then a little bit on the inside back here, and then it's onto this side, which isn't near as bad. This side, the whole tub is in pretty good shape. It's a little rough when you get to the top in there, but here's pretty good. Here's pretty good shape. It's all the sidewall, which is fine because I know how to do that now. It is really gone in there. It's really not good. So what I'm going to do at this point, I also have to do in here. Yeah, you can see where I started to, where I've got the patch in there. I just have to do a little bit more welding in there and a little bit on that side wall, and that'll be done. But what I'm going to do here to make my life easy, and because I'm doing it anyways, I'm going to finally cut out the Wolverine gash, as I call it. That was hidden. This was, for any of you that haven't seen the other videos, this was stuffed with like rags and fiberglass and tinfoil tape and all kinds of stuff to hide this, and it was painted over. So when I saw this car, and this wasn't recent, this has been done for a long time. When I saw this car, it looked like the quarter panels were pretty good. Other than when you took it off, you can stick your hand through the side of it. So I'm going to take the door skin that I have from the front door of the four-door, and I'm going to graft it in from about here to just past this weld here. So I'm not, I'm not right on where I had already welded, and I'm not, having a weld and then a weld. I'm going to just take it past that and take it right to here. It also gets rid of this little dent that's here. There's a little depression that I hadn't really played with yet. So I could just go at this for hours, just picking at stuff. So what I'll do is I'm going to finish up that other side, and then I'm going to come over here. I'll cut this skin down a little bit, clean up the edges, put it on with some self-tapping screws, cut it out where I want it to be. Like I said, I want it to come about an inch or so past this metal here, so I'm into good metal. And then about, half an inch or an inch past the metal here. I'll do that, have that all mocked up, cut this out, and then it'll give me perfect access to get at this wheelhouse stuff, this inner wheelhouse crap. And then I got to take out this little bit, and that'll be the last bit of fiberglass in tinfoil, I'm hoping, that I find. That's the tinfoil tape. And this is what I pulled off the wheelhouse. A friend of mine asked me if I had seen if there was Bondo in the wheel wells. I said, no, it was all fiberglass. That's one piece. And this is another piece. So that's creative work. Yeah, so I'm gonna go get back at that. Once I do this, then it's just the spare tire well cover at some point. Strip the rest of this in here. What I'm going to probably do sooner than later, which is exciting for me, is once I get all the inner wheelhouse stuff done, I'm going to get out the rust paint, POR 15 or DOM 16, and I'm going to paint all in the inside of the quarter panels. Now I'll have to remove some later on where I'm going to weld for the for that inner wheelhouse thing, this guy here. But it's a perfect opportunity to do that once I have all the welding in here done. So I'm not going to get to that in this video, but so yesterday was a good day on it. Today is going to be it's a little bit of a late start. It's after lunch now, but I don't think this will be as hard. I think I should be able to get both of these knocked off. Yeah, either by the end of today or maybe a little bit into tomorrow. But I knocked off 90% of the one side just yesterday, just in one shot. So it's a huge weight off my shoulders. It's something that's been hanging over my head for a while. I wasn't sure how I was going to fix it, and fortunately it wasn't that bad.